Hi everyone, I'm Rosemary, and today I'm going to guide you through painting this snowflake lantern. This is a very simple piece to do, and I really don't think you need my guidance, but I will walk you through it just in case there's anything that you're not aware of. And then sometimes it's better to see somebody doing something than rather to just read it in directions or just be told what to do. So I'll paint along with you. I did start by putting some of the blue on the back of the piece. The whole piece is painted in the blue, and in the inside you can put some also with whatever you can reach. I have in this one, I have fairy lights, and I think they're great to light pieces up. It's hard to see the lights, but they're great because the wires are kind of stiff, and you could push them up high into the piece if it's a tall piece. And you don't want to put a candle in there and burn a candle. I mean, you can, but there's warning directions inside of these pieces. I guess that's to cover themselves when they sell it, that don't ever leave a lit candle unattended in your home. So I believe that the fairy lights are safer, or the tea lights, the battery-operated tea lights are also great. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to be painting the entire piece in the blue, okay? So this is the blue that I'm using. It's the sky blue from Gare, and I put one coat on the back already, but I'm probably going to need 2 coats in certain areas that I'm not happy with. Where you're going to be putting the white on the front and the back, you don't have to worry if you don't have good coverage. But this last bottle that I opened was very thin. I believe that what I gave you was much thicker, so you might not need a second coat. But if you can see that, you can see through it too much. Like I said, where the white is going to go, you don't have to worry. But over here, I would like a little better coverage. So I'm going to be doing the blue nice and smooth on the piece first entirely. And I want you to make sure that you get into all these crevices, because once you do the dry brushing, it will show if you don't have those crevices covered. Okay, so you can use whatever brush you have. I use nylon brushes when I do my painting, and a lot of you that follow me should have some brushes. If you have smaller brushes, it might be easier to get into some of these crevices also with the smaller brushes. I'm just doing it with the big brush. Okay, nice and smooth. If your paint stays wet for a long time after you put it on, that means you haven't pulled it out enough. So pull out your paint really well, and it'll dry fast. Don't try to glob your paint on because you want the blue to be more solid. That doesn't work that way. You have to pull it out and then go back and do a second coat. Okay, and if you do that, I was just doing a class last week with teenagers, and I was showing them because they wanted their color to be sharper, and they have a tendency to want to glob the color on and just keep putting it on and putting it on. And I'm like, no, you pull it out, and it'll dry fast enough for you to go back and put a second coat. And they were amazed how fast the paint dries. I said, right, if you put it on properly, it dries very fast. I mean, I could go back over here and touch this already and not really have anything on my fingers. And that's the way to properly apply acrylics. Just pull it out, unless you're doing a different technique like dry brushing. But dry brushing, same thing. You don't put a lot of paint in your brush. We'll be doing that next. So just get into all these little snowflake cutouts. And like I was saying, it's not solid on the front, but I'm okay with that. But I'm going to keep turning it upside down and looking inside my snowflakes to see the white spots and get them covered. And you might want to do that with a little smaller brush. And you can go back and do that anytime. Even if after you dry brush, you see some white spots showing, you could just take your blue on a little brush and push it into those spots that you've missed. All right, now, because I don't like the way the sides came out, I'm going to go back and I'm going to do this a second coat. Now, I don't know if you could see the difference. This is a second coat, and this is a first coat on this side and a second coat there, and it makes a big difference. And I'm just doing that on the sides because the sides, they have a little bit of white on them, but not like where the snowflake is. So I don't want it to be too washed out looking. You might not need it. It depends on the paint that you have, how thin it was. So wherever I'm going to be leaving the blue, don't forget to do the bottom. You should always do the bottom of your pieces. And I'll do the sides. And when you do the sides, watch it doesn't puddle in the crevices, and if it does, just pull it forward and back and forth. This way you get it off the edges and you smooth it out. Now, I really could see the spots that the first coat was on versus the second coat. Okay. Now I'm doing this quickly, and you don't have to do it as fast as I do. You can always pause the video and go back, because I see a lot of white spots in the crevices. But you should get them. I don't have to. I'm just here to demonstrate. Okay, so I have my one coat on. All right, now you can use this brush to dry brush if you don't have a dry brushing brush. I don't want you to wash it in water if you're going to be using it as a dry brush. Just take out as much of the blue on your paper towel as you can. Okay, so I wiped out the blue on the paper towel. I'll switch it over to the other side. Now I'm going to start picking up the white in my brush. And the first time it's going to be like a light blue, so then I do it a second time and wipe it out again. And each time you dip into a little bit of the white and wipe it out, you get rid of the blue that was in the brush. Now if you have a dry brushing brush, which is a stiffer brush, you can use that. I'll show it both ways. But for those of you who don't have a dry brushing brush, I figured I would use this brush. So, all right, so now this is this brush with nothing in it. Now you're going to go against the grain. Now you don't want to go point in. You want to flatten your brush. And then use the other side of the brush and flat. I'll do this whole side with just what's in this brush for my first coat. When you think there's nothing in the brush, there really is, because then you can press harder when there's nothing in the brush. A true dry brushing, I was told many years ago, is you can actually see powder forming on the table underneath where you're working. Okay, so that's one coat. See the difference in the sides now? So now I'm going to do it again, because don't forget there was blue in that brush. All right, so now while that's drying, I'm going to go around and I'm going to do the back. Against the grain, flatten the brush. I just keep going over it. Okay, so I've got one coat on there. You can see the difference between the sides and the back. Now we'll go back and repeat. And you can do this 3, 4, 5 times. It's how white do you want the snowflake to be? Now this time I have a little more paint in my brush, so I'm doing it with a very, very, very light hand. I'm not pressing hard until I run out of paint in the brush. And you can see the difference between this side and this side. Always wipe. You never go from the paint to the piece. You go from the paint to the paper towel to your piece. And that's 2 coats. Put a little more white paint out. To the back again. And this is just repeat, repeat, repeat until the snowflake is nice and white. If you paint it on, it's going to have a different look. So now I'm going to switch to my big brush that I was telling you I had, the dry brushing brush, which is hog hair brush. And you can get them on Amazon, I believe has them. I don't know what they call them exactly. I should check into it for you. Okay, now this is a stiffer brush. It's like a pounce and a little pull. You pounce down and you give it a pull. Pounce and pull. You're not doing point straight in. Point straight in will fill in your crevices. So it's the flat side of the brush. And I keep rotating the brush to use the white and all of the hair on all of the hairs in the brush. Okay, again, a dip. I wipe. This time I have a little bit more in my brush, so I'm just going to pounce it on, go around, get rid of it, turn the brush around. There's more on the other side of the brush. Okay, so now I'm going to do a little more dry brushing, pulling it a little bit more to blend it. Always work in a given area. Don't go like this all over the place. Take one section of the snowflake at a time. And watch what you're getting, how your paint is going on the piece. Okay, twist my brush around. Now I have not dipped. I think I dipped twice for this, this coat. I could use a little more now. Did you see the difference between here and here? Okay, I had a little bit more in my brush, which you can do, but you have to know how to control it. So I'll pounce it on first when it's a little heavy in the brush. And then I'll go back to it with a dry brushing effect and go across it to blend it together. Now, if you see your paint starting to lift up and your blue, you can't cover your blue with the white, that's because it's wet and it's starting to lift it up. All you have to do is just let it completely dry and go back to it at another time. And pouncing on it will help also. Okay, there we go. So that's 2 or 3 times. I've lost track. So I'm going to do the back now. And then we're going to put a little bit on the sides too. Okay, I'm getting there. All right, I don't know if it's exactly the same. This one may have a lot more on it, but it's your piece. You know, when you're happy with the way the white looks, you stop. All right, I'm going to do one more time. Now, what I'll do is while this is drying, I'll show you how to hit the sides. So I just kind of try to hit these points. On the edges of the snowflakes, the raised spots. And I get a little bit on the sides. See how I did that? So you can just kind of go down the sides like so. And also in the front. I don't want it to be as white as the snowflake because I want the snowflake to stand out. I just try to hit those raised areas. You can go in both directions, go down, go up. Okay, now you see the sides. All right, very similar to this one. This one's a little bluer. This one's a little bit whiter. So you never have 2 pieces come out exactly the same. All right, so I'll stop on that for now, and I'm going to wash my big brush out and put the glitter on. Now the glitter, I have quite a few coats of glitter on the snowflakes only, because again, I wanted them to stand out from the sides, so I didn't do any on the sides. If you want to do that, you can. Wipe my brush very well, and I'm going to hold it on the inside. And the glitter is looks like it's in that bottom well right here, the bottom one, and it looks the same as the white above it. So don't get them mixed up. I always write on the little pods that I give you. I always write when it's glitter so you won't get them mixed up. And it goes on. It looks like glue. Don't leave ridges in the paint. Pull it out. Watch your crevices. Now it's going to be very hard for you to see what I'm putting on because the glitter, it only really shines once it dries. But you can do the front. I don't know if you could even see it. It hasn't sparkled yet. Once it starts sparkling, then you'll be able to see it. And do the back. And I would do it. You have enough glitter there, do it 2, 3, 4 times, as many times as you want, so it gets shinier and shinier and shinier. Okay? Now, like I said, there's nothing much to this piece. It's a very simple piece, and I love simple. It's very pretty. See how much whiter this one is? You could take it as far as you'd like. I think I would do it even whiter so it would stand out. So there's a big contrast between the sides and the top. Okay, now in your bags, I did give you a snowflake for the front. On the back, I ran out of snowflakes, so I put a bunch of different things. Everybody's going to have something different in the bag. I just went to Michael's. They have nothing, so I had to ad lib. So some people are going to have little ones, some are going to have stones. I think I gave everybody 3 pieces. There's bigger snowflakes that you can do whatever you want with them. So I gave you an extra piece because I didn't have exactly what I did on mine because I think I did this sample last year. I also wanted to show you another piece that I did with the same technique. The only thing different with this one is I added snowflakes with stencils. But this is the Let It Snow. Okay, and I just put this video up on YouTube. So you'll be able to see this video too if you want it. And if you need to contact me, anyone needs to contact me through Messenger on Facebook, and through YouTube also. You can contact me through YouTube. This one has some snow put on the edges, right? And see this snowflake? I had it in the house when I did this sample. I can't find them anymore either. I think now, because of what's going on with shortages on everything, it's just hard for any stores really to stock things like I was able to get last year. So this is another pretty piece, and they look nice together. We'll get him out of the way. And you have the two of them, and they really look nice together. I love the blue technique. Okay, and again, on this one, I didn't do the dry brushing on the back. I left it the blue, so they would be the contrast. These are both done in the same blue. The only difference, and this one has the glitter and the white. This has the glitter, the white, the snow, and the stencils. And stencils are done with just a little punch. I punch them out, and I lay them on there, and I just, put a little silver and nothing in the brush. Gives you a cute stencil, a nice little stencil. So there's a couple of pieces I could show. If you're ever interested in anything, just contact me. I want to thank all of you for taking these kits from the library and choosing to do ceramics, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. And I want to wish everyone very healthy and happy holidays and a happy new year. Thank you again.